Her absence. The shift in her tone, the pause in her replies. Most men misread it. They chase. Explain. Panic. Not from weakness, but because they've built their stability around her comfort instead of their own core. But you must pulls back. She's not asking, do you care? She's asking, can you hold your frame? She's not trying to break you. She's trying to find you. She wants to know what happens when the warmth fades. Do you crumble, or do you stand firm? You thought she was losing interest. You thought you had to win her back. But it wasn't about attraction. Every woman, consciously or not, seeks something deeper than charm, leadership. Not dominance. Not performance. But the quiet, unshakable strength of a man who leads himself. He doesn't chase clarity. He doesn't fold under pressure. He doesn't abandon his values to avoid conflict. He breathes. He holds. He remains. She doesn't want another mirror, men who reflect her moods, echo her words, adapt until they vanish. That's not strength. That's erosion. And she feels it, not as love, but as come the mirror, you hand her the reins. And she doesn't want to lead. She wants to lean, but only on something that won't collapse. So when she's quiet, don't rush to fill the silence. When she steps back, don't chase. Hold your ground. Not as a game, but as proof. You don't need her validation. You generate your own. Her distance isn't rejection. It's a scan. She's asking, will you? And if the answer is yes, you become replaceable. Because a man who bends under pressure can't be trusted when storms come. Machiavelli would call this what it is, a loyalty test, not hers to you, but yours to yourself. Most fail, not from weakness, but because no one taught them that presence isn't declared. It's demonstrated. She doesn't need your poetry. You don't prove yourself with words. You prove yourself by standing firm under tension. Because if she can shake you, she'll never fully trust you. And trust, not love, is what roots desire. When the room grows cold, don't flinch. Don't plead. Don't perform. Be still. Be calm. Be anchored. In your silence, she won't see indifference. She'll see power, not the kind that demands. Because in a world of noise, a man who remains unshaken is the only one who feels safe. Part 2, approval is a drug, and you were addicted. You didn't chase her out of love. You chased her because you were starving, not for connection, but for validation. You needed her gaze to confirm your worth. That wasn't love. That was dependence. Machiavelli wouldn't condemn you. He'd warn you, any man who relies on another's approval. This didn't start with her. It started when they told you that being agreeable meant being good. That being chosen was the ultimate prize. So you adapted. You performed. Smiled when it hurt. Agreed when you didn't. Gave without boundaries. Silenced your truth just to keep her comfortable. You weren't loving. You were negotiating, trading authenticity for acceptance. Because approval is emotional heroin. 1 hit, you feel real. 2 hits, you forget your edges. 3 hits, you burn yourself out, not because she asked you to, but because you believed her attention made you whole. But here's the truth, approval is leverage. Once she senses you need it, she no longer needs to respect you. She can manage you. Not out of malice, but instinct. People manage what they don't admire. And when you offer your sense of self for approval, you stop being a presence and become a product. You've seen it before, the man waiting for the text. Editing his words to match hers. Saying, whatever you want, before she speaks. That man doesn't inspire desire. He drains it. Because she doesn't want a satellite orbiting her. She wants burning from its own core. Machiavelli didn't write about romance. He wrote about power. And true power comes from detachment, from needing no one's validation but your own. If your worth rises and falls with her glance, you are no longer a man, you are a mirror. And mirrors don't inspire love. They reflect it, until no woman can complete you. She can only amplify what you already are. Come to her full, and she magnifies. Come to her empty, and she vanishes, not out of cruelty, but because you gave her a role she was never meant to play. Stop chasing the high. Reclaim your throne. You weren't born to audition. You were born to rule, not loudly, but unshakably. Not to perform for love, but to embody it. Fix you. She didn't leave because you were broken. She left because she felt you trying to make her the cure. What you called vulnerability, she felt as weight. What you thought was intimacy, she experienced as obligation. You were confessing, unraveling, bleeding in her hands, hoping your openness would bind her to you. She wanted a partner. You mistook self-disclosure for connection. But connection isn't built on exposure, it's built on embodiment. On owning your shadows without needing her to hold them. You believed if you showed her everything, your pain, your fears, your unhealed wounds, she'd see the real you and stay. But she didn't want to be your therapist. She wanted to trust your leadership. She needed to feel your strength despite the storm, not drown in it with you. Because here's what no one tells you, aggression without emotional control isn't intimacy, it's dumping. It doesn't deepen the bond. It drains it. It's not that she wanted you cold or closed. She just needed to know you had yourself, that your emotions were navigated, not outsourced. That you didn't require her to stabilize your chaos in order to stay centered. A man who shares from solid ground invites closeness. A man who shares from collapse creates pressure. And pressure kills desire. Machiavelli wouldn't tell you to suppress your emotions. He'd tell you to command them. Because in matters of power, the uncontrolled become the controlled. And in love, the emotionally dependent become emotionally dismissed, not because they're unlovable, but because they make love feel unsafe. The masculine isn't emotionless, it's the container for emotion. It's not about hiding. It's about holding. You wanted her to see your wounds and wanted to feel your depth without falling into it. And when she realized you were handing her your wholeness, asking her to complete what you hadn't claimed yourself, her instinct whispered, "This isn't mine to carry." Women don't fear emotion. They fear instability. They fear the man who can cry, but can't stop. Who can feel, but can't lead. Who opens up, but never rebuilds. You thought transparency was strength. But transparency without sovereignty is just glass, easily shattered. She didn't need you to be perfect. She needed you to be anchored. To prove that when your world shook, she wouldn't have to hold you up. Because a man who carries his own weight makes space for her to soften. But a man who collapses into her softness forces her to harden. You wondered why she grew colder. Sharper. More distant. It was your surrender. Not to her, but to your own unmet wounds. Part 4, lead with energy, not explanation. You thought leadership meant words, promises, plans, reassurances. But she didn't listen to what you said. She listened to what you radiated. Masculine leadership isn't verbal. It's vibrational. It's not about telling her you're solid. It's about being solid, so consistently that she feels it before you speak much. You chased her confusion with logic. You tried to fix her doubts with debate. But desire doesn't live in reason. It lives in energy. In tension. In the unspoken space between certainty and mystery. And here's the truth, the more you explain, the more you expose your fear. Not of her, but of losing her. She didn't need paragraphs. She didn't want your arguments. She wanted your aura. Because a man who needs to explain his worth has already doubted it. Real power doesn't announce itself, it arrives. It doesn't plead, it chooses. It doesn't chase agreement, it embodies it. She tests you not out of cruelty, but because she's seeking something deeper than words, resonance. She wants to know. Can I relax into his presence? Can I trust his calm isn't an act? Can I surrender? Because if you crumble every time the room grows cold. Machiavelli understood what most men never do, noise. It responds to posture. You tried to win her with transparency, without sovereignty is just neediness in disguise. She wants to see your soul, but through the lens of your own mastery. Because she'll never feel safe with a she craves your vulnerability. But only after she's felt your spine. Can you show her your pain after you've processed it? Can you speak your truth without needing her reaction? Can you be open, but still in command? You don't lead her by managing her emotions. You lead her by mastering your own. She isn't watching your mouth. She's watching your nervous system. How steady your breath is. How still your hands remain when Who did you stand when every instinct screams to react? Because that is where she decides. Can I trust this man when life gets heavy? And if the answer is no, she'll pull away.